you shared some of the labels, and I actually want to walk through a couple of them because you've got something quite nice. You've got a picture of a label. Of course, we'll bring it up for the audience, but then you have different spots that it is going to be. And I am definitely one of those people. I try to pay attention, but I'm sure I've walked through plenty of these types of environments and just glanced at these little labels and really, I
Yep.
probably read two of them in my life. So I'm going to
That's
do it.
fair.
I'm going to do it
I think
properly today.
our culture is very label happy. We put
There's a
stickers
lot
and
of
labels
labels.
all over the place, but the key is, are the people who needing to read them actually reading them?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Let's go through it. So we've got this one up here, and I see it's got about 8 different colors on it, and so yeah. Just
Mhm.
walk us through what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so that is just an example of what our warning labels would look like once they are printed for you. And it's explaining what the information entails. So the results of the analysis is called the incident energy. So calories per centimeter squared, meaning how hot or how severe over a surface area will that arc flash burn potential be? And the working distance, so it's at an 18-inch working distance. If you're standing in front of a piece of equipment
Mm.
about 18 inches, this is how much of a hazard that you're facing because it's based on heat dissipation from that arc event. And then we've got the arc flash boundary, which is how far out that arc flash can still hurt somebody.
Ah.
So think of that as kind of the blast radius. You want to keep people out of the arc flash boundary in any direction, not just directly in front of the equipment. What we do is we label out the specific PPE requirements. So we list out, it's like, okay, for this high of an arc flash hazard, these are the items of clothing or protective gear that you need to wear in order to protect yourself. If this arc flash were to occur and you're wearing this equipment, you will probably be pretty scared, but at least be able to walk away from it.
Mm-hmm.
We also put a site-specific PPE level, and this is going to mirror what PPE suppliers most of the time mark their gear as. So, for
Ah.
example, a shirt and pant that says a big old 2 on the sleeve and the pocket, well, that's considered okay for up to 8 calories per centimeter squared of incident energy. So if you know what your PPE says, it makes it a little bit easier to pick the right items. Another important part of this is not just the arc flash hazard, though. You also need to be aware of the shock hazard. That is something that hurts and kills people even more often. And so knowing what the highest nominal voltage is that you're facing and what the boundaries are for that, as well as the glove class you need to wear, the rubber
Mm.
gloves that go on your hand to keep you isolated from that energized circuit. And then the boundaries keep people out, for example, and this one shows 42-inch limited approach boundary, which is pretty much set for low voltage equipment. The arc flash boundary is 57 inches. So we would want to set up our barriers or our barricades out to 57 or more
Mm-hmm.
inches away from the equipment. Sometimes that arc flash boundary is lower though. And so 42 inches is the bare minimum. You don't ever want to set up your boundaries less than that because you don't want people exposed to the shock hazard either. The available short circuit current is another important piece of information that oftentimes you can look at your enclosures or your breakers and make sure that, if there's a fault, 9.6 kA of available short circuit current is going to pass through it. Is that equipment rated for it or not? Because even if it doesn't instigate an arc flash, if there's enough current passing through it because of a fault, but it's not rated for it,
Mm-hmm.
then that piece of equipment could actually blow up because of that. It's a
Right.
whole different issue, but still important piece of information. And then just wrapping up with the panel name at the bottom. And I will note it says warning at the top with an orange background. That's per the ANSI standards. If it's over a certain point of a hazard, so typically 40 calories per centimeter squared is the cutoff, then that would change to a red background with white lettering that says danger. And that's just
Oh,
simply
I
because
see.
most people don't have PPE rated for higher than 40 calories per centimeter squared of an arc flash hazard.
I see. I'm
So that's
looking.
kind of the gist of what all the information is on that label, and why it's so important to go through not just what is it, but why do you need to know this? How does it apply to you? And what do you need to do about that?